Hi. If we wanted to, we could give Florida the single best education system in the country with just a few changes. As we've seen over the past few years, our legislators have taken billions and billions of dollars of resources away from our children. They have turned our schools into processing centers designed to pump out test scores. And we can see this process in four symptoms: class sizes, teacher shortages, months of testing, and privatization. We can fix our schools. We can give every child the education they deserve if we just fix those four things. When classrooms are packed, teaching becomes impossible. It just becomes a game of whack-a-mole. We are stopping a fight here, taking away a kid's phone there, instead of actually positively engaging with the students, like teachers are supposed to do. When our small classrooms are stuffed with 30 to 40 kids at a time, our teachers become wardens, and our students simply become numbers. One-on-one time is crucial for the development of a student, and when you have to teach 40 kids in 40 minutes, that becomes impossible. The people of Florida in 2002 knew this, and that's why they passed a constitutional amendment to limit class sizes in the state. Unfortunately, the legislators of Florida in 2011 decided to overturn the will of the people. The Senate, the body that I'm running for, decided to vote 30-7 to hurt students by increasing their class sizes, by reducing the amount of time a teacher can spend with them. Here's the thing. We can reverse that decision. We can restore class sizes to appropriate levels, to reasonable numbers of children. No more than 25 in a class in high school, no more than 22 in middle school, and 18 in kindergarten. Those numbers allow for actual education to happen. It's an easy bill to pass. It will help teachers, it will help students, and it will help the parents of these students who no longer have to worry if their kid will be taught anything when there are 39 other kids in the room. In order to solve the problem of overwhelming class sizes, we have to talk about the problem of an overwhelming shortage of teachers. On any day, there are 5,000 classrooms with no teacher in them. That's tens of thousands of children not getting the education that they deserve. The state government caused this problem by lowering its teachers' pay to the 50th worst in the country. Nobody wants to teach in Florida because teachers are ridiculously underpaid in Florida. We can at least raise our children's teachers' pay to average. Our teachers deserve that, especially with the unprecedented levels of inflation in Florida, which are worse than any other in the country. So not only are prices higher in Florida, but their wages are lower. Raising teachers' pay to just average in the country would cost less than $2 billion. That's half the amount of money the state is planning on spending on privatizing our education system. We can do it, and we must do it. It'll create a stronger, better workforce. And there are very few better investments for our state to make than investing in our children's future, than properly funding their education so that our entire state can see the benefit. Our school system has been turned from a system that is designed to educate the next generation into a system designed simply to produce test scores. Educators are forced to spend the year teaching our students how to get a high test score, how to cram in as much information as possible and memorize it for just long enough to regurgitate it onto the test. Understanding, real thinking skills are merely an afterthought. They become secondary to whatever statistic the state chooses to care about. Whole months of the year become devoted solely to testing, not to teaching. We need to reduce our over-reliance on tests. As we can see, our legislators have turned our schools into processing centers. Our system has abandoned education, it has abandoned students, and it is solely focused on numbers. Nowhere is this cannibalization of our education system seen more clearly than in its privatization. The state is selling your children, our next generation's future, to the lowest bidder. It is about to give $4 billion in taxpayer money to private, for-profit schools, 69% of which are unaccredited. Many of these schools, which don't even report what they're teaching, exists solely to make a profit off of us, the taxpayers, not to educate our children. Because of this, one practice has become incredibly common. These schools will accept a child and accept the money that comes along with them. It'll then expel the child at its leisure for whatever arbitrary reason it chooses and keep the money that we paid for that child's education. That kid now has to go to a public school, but the public school doesn't get any funding for that child. That's another mouth to feed. That's another chair to be bought. That's another lab to set up with no more resources, which means every single child in that school gets hurt because our state has decided to sell their future to these corporations. And we can simply stop it. We can simply fully fund our public school system to fully fund all of these kids' futures and ours. A proper, exemplary school system means that every child can grow up to be the best they can be. It means that we have a workforce that can outperform any other. It means we have a stronger, more resilient, more dynamic economy because we have better people working in it. We can reduce class sizes, we can increase teacher pay, we can change the testing system, and we can stop selling our kids' futures to the lowest bidder. Vote Ben Braver, November 5th, 2024, and I will fight to fully fund our education system. I will fight for our children, and I will fight for our next generation. Don't visit my website, benbraver.org. Please volunteer and donate if you can. Have a great day.